Hey, what's up guys? Today is Monday, July 6th. It's 6:12 p.m. and the temperature is 28 degrees Celsius. I'm currently traveling west on Bloor Street West. That was Bay Street, which I just turned off of. And the plan for this ride is to make a counterclockwise lap around the downtown Toronto area. So I'll be taking Bloor Street over to Bathurst Street, then heading south down towards the lake. From there I'll head east. I'm not quite sure what my route north will be yet. Possibly Bayview or River Street. And that'll take me up through Cabbagetown to Bloor Street East. And then I will turn west onto Bloor Street and come right back to where I started. There's someone having fun in the intersection. Not sure what the heck she's up to. Yikes. I just sort of came up with this route as I was riding downtown, so I really don't know how long it is or how long it'll take, but I would guess probably about an hour or so. Come on, taxi. Seems to be something going on right here. Looks like some kind of protest against landlord evictions. Which makes sense given that so many people are out of work and businesses have been damaged due to the virus shutdown. So this is St. George Street we're approaching. I'm going to be a bit more casual on this ride, and by that I mean not doing my best tour guide impersonation. I've recently done a narrated walk down Bloor Street a few weeks ago, and I plan on covering some of these streets in the future. So we're just going to take it a bit easier on this ride. This is Spadina Road on the right and Spadina Avenue on the left. And we're currently in the Annex neighborhood. That's not a good place to stand. Not sure why you're in your bike lane. So this is always one of the more popular areas in town. It's good to see so many people out enjoying a nice day. And I don't believe left turns are allowed on Bathurst Street, so I'll have to go straight and then cross at the pedestrian crossing. Yep, no left turns between 7 and 10.
I was wondering if the letters fine. So it's gonna have to
That's the former Honest Ed straight ahead. Currently being turned into a rental building complex.
I think like I seeing those like
I believe Bathurst Street, which is what I just turned onto, might be closed down near the lake, so I'll have to find a detour to get around it. That shouldn't be a problem. For just after 6 p.m., it's certainly a lot quieter than it would normally be. Probably not going to make this late. Tired?
yeah. Hot day though.
Yeah, 28.
I was just thinking, I'm impressed you're able to go through the lines. These streetcar tracks, they trip me out.
Yeah, sometimes they snag my wheels. I just try to make a hard cut.
Yeah.
And then close your eyes and pray, right?
Yeah.
All right. Cheers. So that was Harvard Street I just passed. A lot of cyclists in the city are afraid of the streetcar tracks, and with good reason. That's the 511 bus belching out that black smoke in front of me. Normally it would be a streetcar, but with the road closed for repairs in a couple of sections, they're currently running buses on it. I'm not sure if these buses are going all the way down to Queens Quay and into Union Station, where the streetcar would go. You probably have to get off and transfer onto the Spadina streetcar, which runs along Queens Quay. And this is College Street. So on the right is Little Italy, and just to the left is where you can enter Kensington Market. and it'll take you over to Chinatown. I got another bus right behind me. On the right here used to be Cromer Radio. And that was a site where Walmart was trying to build a downtown superstore. And the residents of Kensington Market, which is just to our left, in behind Toronto Western Hospital, were quite opposed to that. So the city ended up putting a square footage limit on the size of retailers allowed in this area, effectively squeezing Walmart out. So we ended up with a supermarket instead. Lineup at the COVID Assessment Center. I've never seen that before. And this is Dundas Street West. So to the left, you could probably see the financial district in the background. That'll take you through Chinatown and all the way to the Eaton Center and Dundas Square. Whoa, that's not a proper left turn. And that McDonald's on the right, I believe, is the only downtown drive-through location in the city. It's a good amount of wind right here. I wasn't planning on recording anything tonight. I had ordered a new external microphone off Amazon yesterday, and I was hoping that it would have arrived at some point in the afternoon today, and I could take that out and start playing around with it and getting it set up so I can use it to record these rides, and maybe even for the walking videos. But it didn't come, so I found myself after work with not much to do, so I hopped on the bike, decided to bring the camera, and here we are. Last minute, half-assed ride around downtown. Here's where Bathurst Street starts to become a bit of a maze. I'll stay ahead of the bus. This is Queen Street West. So I don't think I can take Bathurst all the way to the lake. Not the best place to be as a cyclist. All this construction is forcing me right onto the streetcar tracks. I'll see if I can make a left at Adelaide and maybe take that over to Spadina and take that south down to the lake. I'm also breathing in an awful lot of bus fumes. So the next street is Adelaide, which is a one-way street, which runs eastbound. Well, I'm sure that wasn't a legal move, but it worked. Okay, so this ride isn't quite all the way around the perimeter of downtown. Maybe I'll take Portland Street here down to Front. There's a nice patio. I think that used to be a beer market. And this is King Street West. So straight ahead is the CityPlace development, all those glass towers. And this here would be Front Street West. You know what, maybe I will follow that guy. No, I don't really like the idea of cycling over that bridge, do I? A lot of other people are doing it. Okay, let's go for it. This will be a more interesting detour at least. This is the rail yard.
What did I say? Yeah, that was.
It's a pretty funky bridge. I've only been over this way a few times before. And I think I can take Dan Leckie Way, which is a street just south of here, down to Queens Quay. Well, I'm not sure what the etiquette on that is, but if I offended anyone, I apologize. It's always a good idea to take things extra slow and be careful whenever you're around pedestrians, and be prepared to hop off and just walk it. So this is the CityPlace community, and this is Dan Leckie Way, which should take us straight down to Queen's Quay. So this is Lakeshore Boulevard West, and the next street will be Queen's Quay, which runs along the waterfront. I was down here yesterday afternoon recording a walk. It was a really nice day for that. The Canadian malting silo straight ahead. Which, last I heard, is going to be turned into an art and event space. There's a lot of debate over what to do with it, whether they should tear it down, but it's been designated a heritage site. Not so busy here today. It was a lot busier on the weekend. It often feels a bit like you're in a bicycle pinball machine when you ride down here on a busy day. Just constantly people darting out in front of the bike path. They were smart, they knew to look. Let's see if anyone disobeys this red light and goes around me.
Unless you're a fucking really big asshole.
There's the Spadina Wave Deck, and right here on the left, is Reese Street. I might have been wrong on what wave deck that is. It's a good amount of wind right now. Just into the right is the Amsterdam Brewery. They have a very large patio, which I'm sure is quite busy right now. Wow, I'm just catching every light. There's a bunch of people that probably shouldn't be out on bicycles. I'm all for the Idaho stop, which means you treat a red light as a stop sign and a stop sign as a yield sign. But in such a heavy trafficked area like this, full of pedestrians, I don't think that just blowing through these red lights is the smartest thing. And also, those people weren't even coming to a stop, and that was a red, so they can't even make the argument that they were doing an Idaho stop. In residential areas, usually that's what I'll do. I'll just treat stop signs as if they're a yield sign and not go through unless it's absolutely clear. Just on the left is where the streetcar dips underground and makes one stop on its way up to Union Station. There's been ongoing issues with drivers heading down there in their vehicles. Even though the signs are pretty clear and explicit, they put in some additional measures to prevent that. So I'm not sure if it's happened in the last year or so, but it used to be a regular occurrence. You'd go on Reddit and there would be a picture of some idiot stuck in their car going down that ramp, usually an SUV for some reason. So this is Yonge Street, we're just passing through. So we've been on the west side of downtown the entire time up until now, and this would be the east side. I've been meaning to order a new bell. Whenever I hit any type of bump, this stupid thing goes off. And they're not even that expensive. And I'm ordering crap from Amazon almost every day, so. Hopefully I'll remember. It's Red Path Sugar on the right. One of the few remnants from the industrial days down here. There is a ton of condo development along this part of Queens Quay. I'm not sure if there's plans to build the streetcar or LRT out this way, or if they're just going to ramp up the bus service. But it's certainly going to be necessary, especially during the winter. So that's George Brown College. We're going by on the right. You can pass through there down to the lake and get a nice view. There's also a little man-made beach set up called Sugar Beach. Pretty soon I have another decision to make. That's planning our route up north to Bloor Street. Bayview would probably be the most correct eastern route to take. But it goes, I believe, right under Bay Street, or Bloor Street. I'd have to get off somewhere and loop my way back onto it. So I think some combination of Cherry Street, and then I'll take Mill Street up through Cabbagetown, and then Parliament Street. And even then, I can't turn left onto Bloor from Parliament Street, so... In hindsight, it would have been smarter if I did this one clockwise rather than counterclockwise. So just straight ahead to the right would be Cherry Beach and the Cherry Street Bridge. And to the left, where we're going to head over to, is the Distillery District. And we'll pass through an area called Corktown and take that over to River Street, which will lead us up north to Gerrard Street. Here's a trick I learned on a previous ride. Hauled someone out this way who was turning left. across these ratty old tracks. So with any luck, the next time I post one of these rides, the audio will sound hopefully better, as long as I can figure it out. So this is the Distillery District on the left. There's a streetcar loop. One of the two King Street streetcars go there. I believe it's the 504A. Oh, it says no right turns here. So this is Mill Street. There's even more new condos going up in this area. So as I was saying, with the external microphones, I've tried several different microphones on several different setups, and I've gotten them to work pretty well about 95% of the time. It's just whenever I hit a really strong wind, the sound kind of breaks up. And I've been trying different ways to conceal them, different dead cats, covering them in different materials, tucking them under my shirt, clipping them onto the backpack. And onto the backpack seems to work the best. But the problem is, the microphone I have that does that isn't omnidirectional, so it doesn't record in stereo. And if I talk, my voice sounds really distant. So for all of these rides but one, I've just been using the camera's built-in microphone. It says no left turn here, but I don't see any police. And I do see a walk signal, which I'll take. This is not a good ride for breaking rules. This is an interesting park, which runs, this would be King and Queen Street, we're underneath. Always a lot of skateboarders down here. And this would be Lower River Street. Or maybe it's just River Street. See if I get a look at the sign. This is King Street East, so I lied. That wasn't King Street we were going under. That would have been just this part to the right. That would have been Eastern Avenue, I believe. So this is pretty much the eastern edge of downtown. Straight ahead is the Regent Park neighborhood. It was formerly mostly public housing, but it's been extensively redeveloped. So this is the end of Shooter Street. If you turn a left here, which is west, that'll go all the way and terminate at the Eaton Center on Yonge Street. And you'll definitely pass through an interesting part of the east side. That's Labatt Avenue. I'm not sure if that's named after the brewery. The former Canadian brewery, which sold out and used to own the Blue Jays. So this is Dundas Street, and Regent Park itself would be just over here on the left. And we're gonna go a few more blocks north to Gerrard Street, where I'll have to make a left. And we are entering an area called Cabbagetown. Much of what is Regent Park actually used to be part of Cabbagetown, but it was destroyed to build the public housing. I'm sure there were a lot of mixed feelings about that, as Cabbagetown is quite renowned for its residential street architecture. So I want to turn left here, but I'm all the way over in the bike lane on the right. Coast was clear. I wasn't really thinking ahead there, otherwise I would have gotten into the left lane. So on our left would be considered Regent Park, and on our right would be considered Cabbagetown. You can see the stark contrast in the style of buildings. And this is Sumac Street. So just up here on the right is Riverdale Park West. There's a big open sports field area with some softball fields. There's also a farm, which is quite popular with kids. And the Toronto Necropolis, which is a circa 1800s Gothic cemetery. These street signs indicate that this has been designated a quiet street. So ideally it's limited to local traffic only, and the idea is just to afford people some space to physically keep apart but get out and enjoy the city. That's Riverdale Park on the right, and you can't see it, but the farm is just over there. And that's the necropolis. I must have passed through here a number of times on previous videos. Just cut down here. When I had the idea to ride around the perimeter of downtown, going through this sort of neighborhood wasn't really in mind. So I'm not complaining. It's quite a nice area to take a ride. That is Sackville Street, one of the nicest streets in Cabbagetown. If you're coming through this area just to take a look around, I highly recommend that you don't miss that particular street. And this is Parliament Street. So this is the north end of the main retail district in Cabbagetown. This is Wellesley Street East we're passing through. You could take that over through downtown to about Queen's Park. It'll run through the village. And up here is another part of this ride I didn't really think through, because I'm going back to Bloor Street and you can only turn right. There's not even a pedestrian crossing on the right side you can go through. So I think the move will be to turn left here on Howard Street and pass through an area known as St Jamestown, which is a bit similar to Regent Park, in that it was mostly lower cost subsidized housing. So this is Howard Street here. And I can take this over to Sherbourne Street, and then that'll take me up to Bloor. The east side of downtown has a number of neighborhoods that don't traditionally have the greatest reputations. There's Moss Park, Regent Park, and St Jamestown. The west side of downtown doesn't really have anything like this. You have to go a bit further west. So this is Sherbourne Street, which will take us up to Bloor Street. There is a bike lane, but I'm going to be turning left, so I'll skip it. And just on the right here is Sherbourne Station. That runs on the Line 2, which is the east-west line that runs along Bloor Street. We could take Sherbourne straight, and this will go through the Rosedale neighborhood, which is a rather affluent part of the city. But we're so close to making the full lap, so I'll just stick to the plan. And it's only 7:01, so I should be able to finish this in under an hour. So maybe at some point later on, I'll do a proper lap of downtown, going clockwise, and I'll see if I can beat that time by a good 10 or 15 minutes. going pretty gingerly in most of this ride. I don't think there's always been a protected bike lane on this part of Bloor Street. It seems like a fairly new installation. The other question is, will this camera battery last the whole trip? I haven't really pushed it more than an hour or so. I just bought this camera about a month ago. You might notice that since about November, this YouTube channel has been monetized, which means there are ads running on it. And it doesn't make too much money. Oh, this isn't good. You never want to squeak right around a right-turning vehicle. Although this truck isn't signaling. Now he is. It's always nice when people do that. So as I was saying, since it started generating some revenue since November, I've been taking that money and just buying equipment with it. So I bought a second camera that I use to record the walking videos, because the first one started to get a bit wonky on me. And I bought a few 256 gigabyte fast SD cards, which you need to record 4K 60. And I renewed my software subscription for a year. Not a fan of subscription-based software, but what can you do about that these days? And I bought this camera. And I guess the external microphone today and some other accessories, such as the mount that I'm using to record this video with. So as long as I remain employed, I guess, I'll continue to put that money back into the channel, as I kind of like getting new toys and making videos with them. So, sorry you have to tolerate the ads, but it's all ultimately for a good cause, I guess. And coming up straight ahead is Bay Street, which is where I started this ride. And it's 7:05 p.m. This used to be a scramble intersection, like Yonge and Bloor and Yonge and Dundas. But after evaluating it, they realized there just wasn't enough pedestrian activity to justify it, so the city pulled the plug and turned it back into a normal style intersection. And there we go. A sort of half-assed loop around downtown Toronto. I'm just going to head up to a little park just up here on the left and take a quick breather, grab a drink of water, and then jump back on the bike and ride up to Midtown. There's the park, Jesse Ketchup Park. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.